नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम. We give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we send our greetings and praise upon the noble Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And following that, I seek refuge in Allah from the outcast shaitan. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. O my Rabb, expand for me my chest and ease for me my task, and untie the knot from my tongue so that they may understand my speech. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For all those who have joined us online and for all of you who are sitting here, thank you for taking the time out. I welcome you to the introductory session of the connection. It's a bit really.
I know, gonna have to do that.
I can't.
Sorry.
Let me begin by asking you, how many of you have heard of the term Hukukul Nafs? Raise your hands. What does it mean to you? Yeah.
So I'm trying to make this to a really broad and difficult topic. How you're supposed to specific rights.
Oh, good. And anyone from here? What does Hukukul Nafs mean to you? Yeah, good. Well, to be honest, I had not heard of this term till a couple of years back. And it was a real eye-opener for me because in growing years, all we heard about was Hukukul Allah and Hukukul Ibad. So the concept of Hukukul Nafs is like that missing puzzle that just makes the picture complete. So what is Hukukul Nafs? The term itself is very self-explanatory, and it's essential for individual growth, well-being, and happiness. It allows people to make choices that align with their values and goals, develop their identity and sense of self. It builds self-esteem and confidence, forms meaningful relationships, and it helps us to live a life that is authentic and fulfilling. So the rights to one's own self in Islamic law is not absolute, but rather balanced with the individual's responsibilities towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, themselves, and the community. And by understanding the Hukukul Nafs within this framework, individuals can navigate their rights and responsibilities in a way that aligns with their spiritual, emotional, and social well-being. So as women, most of us keep changing hats to fulfill the various roles we are expected to play most of our lives, and giving priority to everything around us but our own needs. Being that anchor, being that quote to all the important relationships around us. And in that, we sometimes feel overwhelmed, anxious, or tend to lose ourselves. Our interests, our hobbies, our needs, all taking a sideline, which in turn impacts our well-being in the long run. And at times, one might feel a bit stuck, frustrated, or just unable to move forward in a healthy way. So, in a very basic layman's language, the idea behind the connection is to provide a support platform in a very holistic way. To help by giving those who feel the need a space to empty out their issues, their concerns, and worries.
Oh, no, we just-
Sure. So, in a very basic layman's language, the idea behind the connection is to provide a support platform in a very holistic way. We are providing a one-on-one safe place as a soundboard where you are welcome to explore your own thinking and find your own solutions. Brainstorm with your facilitator practical changes you would like to make in your day-to-day living. And in the process, help discover yourself, become more self-aware and mindful, perhaps be able to handle overwhelming situations a little better, changing your reactions into well-thought responses, and learn to make changes to lead an overall healthier lifestyle. And along the way, I would also encourage that we will set up small practical goals or targets which would lead to a more purposeful living. So basically, focusing on our strengths rather than the limitations. And just to list out a few benefits of such a support platform, it's emotional support, reducing feeling of isolation or loneliness, increased self-esteem, improved coping skills, enhanced knowledge and resources, plus, of course, personal growth and empowerment. The connection, it's a one-on-one online support group, and it will be led by a team which is a product of this very institute. The platform's focus is on support and sharing to empty out and not to fix anyone's problems. This is very important to understand. We are not here to fix anyone's problems. The spade work has to be done by the client themselves so that practical solutions can come from within them because they best know what their environment and what their surrounding is at the moment. So we are only there to facilitate that awareness, that movement through various tools which are in our toolbox. Now, this kind of support platform has its limitations, and let me make it clear that none of the facilitators on the connection team is coming from a background of psychology. Hence, we are not qualified therapists or doctors. So you might ask at this point, why a support group? Many successful support groups have been founded by individuals who have experienced a particular challenge or issue, and they want to now help others with similar situations through life experience and wisdom, though they might not have any background in psychology. I'd like to tell you some of the benefits of such a support platform. Personal experience, where facilitators have a deep understanding of the issue and can relate to the clients perhaps more effectively. Their passion and motivation. Their personal experience can drive this passion and motivation to help others and empower them. And accessibility. Such platforms provide a more approachable, more casual, and accessible system to potential clients who might be intimidated by a professional setting or feel shy to reach out. Again, let me please say this again, that connection is not a substitute for professional therapy or treatment or counseling, though it might complement it. And if at any point a particular facilitator feels that her client needs to seek professional help of any sort, she will be advised to do so. Are you guys with me till now? So the procedure for this whole thing is, we have posted a link on the social media connection flyer. If you click on that, there's a form. Please read that, and once you've filled it, you submit that. Once you've submitted that, our client, starting from October 1st week, will get in touch with you within 2 weeks in October. And a time will be set up for an initial interview to determine if the platform can support you. Once the payment formalities are taken care of, a time for your first session will be set up with the facilitator. Preference, of course, will be given to the Quest students, the alumni, the TAs, and the teachers initially. And depending on how slots open up, we will be taking others also, inshallah. So now I would like to introduce my team members to you. Ambereen Sept. She's a certified NLP master practitioner in timeline therapy and certified NLP master coach. She has under her belt humanistic counseling certification too. And Fareen is currently teaching the HIVS module at Quest, and she has been heading it for the last 7 years. Sheila Heather, a certified master practitioner in timeline therapy and meditation. As a Hafiz-e-Quran and a student of the Quran, her forte is to integrate NLP coaching in the light of Quran and Sunnah. And as a lecturer and facilitator at Quest, her passion is to empower women with positive outcomes, tapping into their skills to achieve their desired goals and dreams to discover their purpose in life. She's also currently running the foremost module here at Quest. Our third member is Shahida Lakhani. With over 19 years of experience in service and hospitality industry, she has a profound understanding of creating rapport and the dynamics of clientele service. She has also worked in the US healthcare under various neurologists, ensuring optimal patient care and comfort. And currently, she is a mentor at the Rehla program, and she is guiding participants in understanding the Quran and applying its teaching to everyday life. Yasmin Khatri. She too is currently working as a TA at Rehla, and her love for learning continues as a student for advanced Arabic grammar and advanced Tajweed courses here at Al-Ilm. Yasmin is an experienced certified Islamic life coach, licensed NLP practitioner, certified coach for porn addiction, and TBT practitioner for trauma healing. Anmol Irfan, a very enterprising and intelligent young freelance journalist and editor, plus a current Rehla student. Anmol is the founder of Umeed, a platform that aims at challenging stigmas around abuse in Pakistan. Her reporting is focused on gender issues, Muslim identity, climate changes, and much more. As a student of Quran, she has been working to look at how our faith can intersect with many of the global issues prevalent today. Emotional well-being is a part of that. And finally, a little bit about myself. I too am a student of Homa, and I'll be finishing my Rehla course, inshallah, in a week or two. Apart from that, I've also done my life coach certification in NLP Masters, Ambereen, timeline therapy, and family counseling. So with this varied experience, Skill set and life insight. Quest is delighted to present to you the connection. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us throughout, keep us sincere and humble, and accept this little effort from all of us. The Connection team is very passionate about spreading awareness and empowering women through their own learnings and experiences, and hoping that in that process we will be able to help not only you but ourselves to lead a more meaningful life, hoping that it will positively impact Pakistan's future generation and our ummah too. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed all of us in so many different ways. And it is of utmost importance that we do not let ourselves and our time here in this life to be wasted. As a gratitude to Him, it is obligatory for all of us to take good care of ourselves, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually too. Coming towards the end, I would like to read a beautiful poem, and I'm sure most of you have heard of it. It's called Fear by Khalid. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled from the peaks of the mountains, the long winding road, crossing forests and villages. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to now take the risk of entering the ocean because only then will fear disappear. The river needs to now take the risk of entering the ocean because only then will fear disappear. Because that's where the river will know. It's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like Anmol to please come and give a little bit of info on the workshop that we'll be holding next week, inshallah. Thank you. He was like,
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So I'm Anmol Khan, and I wanted to come talk to you today about the second aspect of the connection, which is where we're going to be holding open interactive workshops around common issues and themes that many of us might be dealing with in this day and age. Now, the idea behind these workshops is to understand how many of these issues that connect to our emotional well-being are also connected to our identity as Muslim women, and therefore become a key part of our faith journey. We want to create both a sense of awareness and form a community that helps us understand how not only can we build ourselves up, but create a space where we help others build each other up as well. Now, I'm sure you noticed in the introduction to the one-on-one sessions that the concept of the connection is inherently one of community and support. And this will be the same theme that we carry out throughout these workshops. But let's talk about why we're here in the first place and why we want to conduct them. Now, Islam provides a sense of purpose and emotional fulfillment through our attachment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Spirituality and religiosity are often associated with better connections towards emotional and physical health. Now, this is in no way to say that someone who has a religious connection cannot struggle with their well-being. But it is an acknowledgement that as Muslims, we cannot proceed on these paths without understanding and involving our deen. Because without involving Ardeen in these conversations, we risk dividing parts of ourselves instead of treating our spiritual, physical, and emotional states as one holistic being. We'll go into this in more detail next session. But before we go any further, I'd like to take a couple of minutes and ask all of you why you think we are sitting here today and talking about this. What is the connection between Ardeen and our emotional well-being? Yeah, did we have a hand over there? No, we had one over here.
So has essentially positive and negative emotions, positive good and bad, because negative emotions are generally termed as bad emotions, but they're not bad emotions. They're there for reasons like anger, guilt. They're there for reasons. And I feel like in our society, increasingly people address these emotions. And specifically as women, we are told to suppress them. So I think that's why it's important to have such things.
I think that's a very good viewpoint. Does anyone else want to share? Just take one or two more and then we can continue. Yes.
As Islam has a concept of kami woman, so the woman should be kami, like not only physically, also emotionally, physically, spiritually, all aspects should be kami. So that's why it's more important to also take all issues.
Yeah, I think that's a very beautiful way to put it. And both of those answers are just part of what we're going to focus on in our workshops. Now, before we go ahead, I want to encourage all of you to come to these spaces with an open mind and keep space for the different opinions and discussions that we're going to have here, because that's the only way that all of us can grow and learn from each other. So while our overarching focus will continue to be emotional well-being, the way we're going to go about this is breaking this down into subtopics and addressing them in a way that is relevant to our lives today. So in particular, we want to look at popular trends we see online. We want to look at certain stereotypes, perceptions that we may hold or others may hold, and how that helps us define terms like our own goals or the concept of success, which may look different to everyone. So our first workshop, which will be next week during the Mindful Me module, will focus on navigating emotional well-being and emotional regulation. Within that context, we're going to be looking at the term emotional well-being and defining it as an awareness, understanding, and acceptance of feelings and an ability to manage effectively through times of change or challenge. In the sessions that we continue to conduct after that, which are divided throughout the Quest calendar, we will be going into more detail regarding topics such as understanding triggers, the generational trauma cycle, the victim mindset, and looking at key issues such as the power of silence, mindfulness, and many more. Now, one thing I would like all of you to do is keep in mind and give me some feedback on what you think is an area of concern in your own emotional well-being. And we hope that we can integrate that into our upcoming workshops as well. My hope is to keep these workshops extremely interactive and for all of us to learn from each other's thoughts too. We all perceive many of these issues differently, and interacting on these topics, which we don't usually talk about in everyday life, especially in a solutions-oriented way, can help us find new perspectives. We'd like you to remember that when it comes to emotional well-being, there is no solution and no quick fix. This is not a band-aid. It's a journey that we all undertake for different reasons and goals, and we're going to end up with different results. What you and I might hope to get out of this module might be very different from the person sitting next to you or someone who is not in this room. So for next week, I'd like you all to do a little exercise. I want you to sit with yourselves and come up with some pointers as to what you'd like to gain from these sessions. Now, this is just for yourself, and it's just for you to start these conversations on a personal level as we continue and start and continue our journeys towards a better understanding of our holistic beings. Now, with that being said, I would like to open up the floor for any questions you might have about the connection as a whole or the workshops, or if you have any feedback regarding some of the topics that I've shared.
So when you say the word, right? So when you then align them to individual, that's good. And so then if I am better suited to work with it or something like that, and that would be age driven or it's just a random assignment.
No, we will be looking at the application. So you'll have a form that you fill out and the interview, and that'll help us figure out which mentor will suit you best. So yes, we will be thinking about it as a team.
Is it going to be like a therapy session, like we can sit, discuss a specific problem, like person is facing, or like group will discuss for it, or like one-on-one mentor and open it like.
Okay, so I'm going to address two things about what you said. Firstly, with regards to the support sessions, they're not group sessions. They will be one-on-one, and confidentiality is something that we're going to be very strict about. So whatever session you have with your facilitator will be completely confidential. And secondly, I just again want to clarify that this is not therapy. So the reason we are conducting support sessions is one, because our facilitators are not therapists, and that's a very important distinction to make. And also because the goal is therapy works slightly differently. This will be more the client having the space to work through their own whatever goals that they set with their facilitator. Does that answer your question? Any more questions?
You said like the workshop will be conducted, so it will be on what schedule, how long we have a workshop, or we have a workshop or just.
So the workshops are open to everyone. They will be part of your Mindful Me module, and Sarapa is just going to come up and talk about that in more detail, how the schedule will work, so you will know in advance. The first workshop on emotional well-being will be next week on the 18th, inshallah. With that, Sarapa, if you want to just come and talk about that.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How's everybody doing? So I think we need a little bit of clarification here as to how does all of a sudden mindful me change into the connection, and what is the connection between the connection and mindful me? Ji. So let's just okay, mindful me, you have done 3 sessions with me so far. You will be doing a lot of inshallah ta'ala topics with me on under this umbrella of mindful me. Along with that, for the first time at Quest, we have introduced a project-based module. बाकी जितने भी आपके modules हैं, on Thursdays and Wednesdays and Mondays, all of them are really subjects modules, classroom kind of a thing. But the connection is more of a social project, you can say. It is a support-based mechanism that's going to work, where there are facilitators, 5 or 6 of them. Mashallah, kitne Ambereen? How many of you? 5? 5, including Ambereen. By the way, she was very, very, she downplayed her own profile, and I was like, wanted to say more about her. Mashallah, you're going to be like in great hands. And I do remember when I met her at some tea party, and I was thinking that, Quest has been offering so many subjects, and we need to do something in terms of emotional well-being for our students and, alumni and team members and all of that. And then she came up with this idea of creating a support group where they will be facilitators. So it's not really a therapy kind of a thing, but there is some gray area. I mean, I'm struggling to understand the whole idea myself, but the way, let me just tell you what I have gauged from Ambereen's constant back and forth conversation that we've been having. There is a huge gray area that we have in the society. These women are not mentally ill. These women, they might need to go to a therapist, but along with that, they need support. They need a person who has a good background to help you to understand, where you're standing in your life and how to navigate it, and make you kind of think about the solutions. This is how I have understood it. It is a beautiful gray area where you're not coming to get answers, but you are finding your own answers, right? And it could be simple, straightforward challenge that you have with your own self-esteem. It could be a challenge that you have with somebody in your family, in your friend circle, in your colleagues, or maybe you're just going through a very lull period, low period, phase in your life. It could be any of the above. You could be going to a therapist and maybe you're not. So all of this is like it's a huge gray area. And I think these ladies are really well equipped, have the right background to help you understand, what the solution could be, and make you come up with the solution basically. So they're not going to kind of tell you, "Acha, aapne ye karna hai, subah ye khana hai, dopahr ko ye khana hai, sham mein ye khana hai." That's not the case. They'll make you kind of come figure out a solution for yourself. Am I right, Ambereen? Yeah. Absolutely. Please come to my rescue.
Unfortunately, with psychology, what has happened is that everything has been labeled, right? So our day-to-day issues, or what we as women are going because of our hormonal changes, also the ups and downs does not need to be labeled. So it's kind of, we are unlabeling all those labels and yet working through in creating a certain awareness of what's happening with us. That's how I see it. Very, very simple, very, very basic. You could come in just for one session. You could take 3 sessions, as many as you want. But yes, I would not like you guys to be dependent on us, whoever comes to us. But it's just a very nice nudge forward for you to do. The idea is movement and growth, where you might feel a bit stuck in life. That's about it.
So may I register for it as well? I'm finding it very interesting. Acha, now coming to how does the connection fall into mindful me? Yeah, that's another thing I think quite a lot of you online and on site have been wondering, ye ekdam se kya hua? So the thing is that mindful me is a module in which, and connection in and of itself, as I told you, is a project, a social project kind of a thing, which is run on from the platform of Quest. What they're going to do are two things. Number one, they're going to have sessions, one-on-one session. By the way, it's going to be extremely confidential. Nobody will ever know, even within the team. Ambereen, Khalid being the heading the connection, she's the only one who will get your filled up form. She's the only one who's going to kind of identify a facilitator for you, and that's it. Even I will know that you've reached out to me and you have registered. So confidentiality is the key thing that all of them are very, very mindful of. First thing, acha, फिर क्या होगा? Ambereen is going to assign one of the facilitators to you, and online you're going to have support sessions with her. 1, 2, 5. That is something that when you kind of like fill up the form, Ambereen or one of the facilitator will kind of guide you through it, inshallah ta'ala. So this is one part of the connection project. The other part is Anmol is going to every now and then run a workshop which will be under the umbrella of mindful me. So I will be doing things and I'll take a break and she'll come and do a workshop and then I'll resume and do another topic with you. So like next week, Ambereen is doing her first session on emotional well-being. Sorry, Anmol Ji. So she's doing her first session on emotional well-being next week. Right after that, you'll be seeing me again. And inshallah ta'ala, I am going to have a whole series on mindful anger, which is going to be for 4 or 5 weeks, inshallah ta'ala. And then Anmol will jump in again to do another workshop with you. And then I'm going to perhaps do time management I've got a lot of things that I want to do this year, inshallah ta'ala, with my students, inshallah. So this is how it's going to work. So now I hope you're able to see the connection between the connection and mindful me. Any questions? Any questions online, on site? Is it absolutely clear? So these workshops that Anmol is going to run are for Mindful Me students and listeners, but we are welcoming other people to come and join in as well. So we're going to like next week का announce हमने कर दिया हुआ है emotional poster निकल आया आपका नहीं अभी नहीं निकला, so it's going to be shared and inshallah you can bring in your friends and and along with that what Ambereen has shared with you initially, you have the link, you can register, ask your, and we're going to give priority to Quest students, alumni and Quest faculty, and after that we'll be taking outsiders as well for it. So it's fine, anybody can register, but we're going to give priority. And I think Ambereen would need 2 to 3 weeks in order to, their team to get back to you, inshallah ta'ala, in terms of, assigning a facilitator and all of that. Okay, Ji.
Are there charges for the registration?
Yes, there are, not for registration, but if they take you in for sessions, there are charges for it, yes.
For every session?
They will let you know, inshallah ta'ala. Joby, whatever they decide, they'll let you know what the charges are for it. And it's going to be like a one-on-one. It's on the form. It's on the form. तो आप जब उसको देखेंगे, लिंक खोलेंगे, तो उसके अंदर आपको सारे charges inshallah ta'ala मिल जाएंगे. Right? All right. So over to Parnia now, inshallah ta'ala. And I hope everybody, please bring your friends and colleagues for the next session. It's going to be a lovely session by Anmol, inshallah ta'ala. And right after that, the next Wednesday, we are going to start Mindful Anger, inshallah.
The workshop?
No. The workshops are open. Oh, it's open house and you can bring in your friends and family, inshallah ta'ala. Lagi?